Hey everyone. Okay, so right from the top, we finally get the identity of the Sun God near the end of the episode, and it's revealed to be the navigator of the new giant warrior pirates, Roto, who basically kidnapped the Straw Hats and made them his dolls because he's a petty, prideful, and vindictive bitch who refused to be an underling of Luffy's. And on one hand, while the context of how the Straw Hats landed in Roto's clutches is a little funny, I'm not gonna lie, the reveal itself does make me feel the exact same way I did when reading the manga, which is that this is one giant side plot before transitioning into the real story. Like, I do appreciate this part a little more for the smaller bits of foreshadowing and world building it offers, but as a whole, my opinion didn't change all that much either. And on the anime side of things even more, admittedly, I am a little annoyed that Toei stretched this out to where we only saw the Strides escaping at the very end of the episode. Like, I know I keep harping on it, but only because it's true. We only have 26 episodes airing this year, and it feels like a little bit inefficient to waste three full episodes on this part of the arc. I don't know. Again, I'm not going to harp on it any longer since we're over with this part of the story now. But it's like, yeah, this is one of those things that really could have been condensed down. And if the Wit Studios adaptation, for example, gets this far, I can imagine it being reduced down to at least 2 episodes, bare minimum, if not one. I don't know. But again, gripes about pacing aside, though, I did still enjoy this episode, and honestly, one thing that finally clicked in me after watching this episode is how much Elbaf as a whole is kind of Oda's attempt at a bit of a soft reset of the character dynamics within the Straw Hats. Like, it's like, I don't think I'm saying anything too shocking here, but when the time skip hit, one of the main complaints all of us had, or at least majority of the fandom had, was Flanderization of certain characters. Sanji got the biggest brunt of this, most notably, and while I do maintain the belief that Sanji got better after Fishman Island, I can admit there still has been there is still something been noticeably off about the Straw Hats as a whole, and it wasn't until going through this mini section of Elbaf again that I finally realized what that was. And it's chaos. Let me explain. To put it simply, the Straw Hats have encountered to put it simply, when you look at the story structure of One Piece as a whole, a lot of the times the structure is they come across this big threat, like many different threats throughout the series. One of them is basically the main threat that they take seriously, and the other is kind of like a side threat that's helped introduce us to the arc, but as a whole, it's kind of meant as just a fun little side adventure, I guess. And it's that side threat that Oda has mostly treated like a way in order to kind of really give us an idea in order to really give us like a taste of character dynamics and whatnot, and how the Strats work together, like to get out of a situation. And that's more or less what this felt like. It felt like one of those threats that has an element of fun injected into the that was meant to inject a little bit of fun into the story to start off with. And that's kind of what's been, and in a way, that's kind of what's been missing from a lot of post-time skip as of late, is the fun aspect, the aspect that is dealing with a serious threat, but still has enough room in order to inject a little bit of fun into it. Like, ever since I'd say Dressrosa, the story has taken a very noticeably sort of serious turn. Not a whole lot of room in order for any kind of like for any of that fun to be injected into the story at this point. But here it did feel like we got to have a little bit of that in order to offset a little bit, in order to just have a little bit to kind of just have fun and whatnot. And now granted, it's the arc going forward is going to have a little bit more of a serious tone, but it is going to have a bit more of a serious tone, mind you. But I do appreciate Oda's attempt to at least inject a little bit of that whole idea, like back into this pretty much one one section. And granted, honestly, even then, like the serious bit that probably isn't going to happen for at least a little bit yet. In fact, one thing that made me appreciate this even more is that when I look at how when I look at how at the when I look at personally at the I think the last time when I look at personally at the post times as a whole, I think the last time we ever had like something injected with that kind of fun again was probably Punk Hazard. Like Punk Hazard felt like the last time that the Straw Hats had actual the Straws were able to actually be like the Straw Hats and actually have fun with we were actually able to have fun with the characters. But again, here it's just kind of nice to it's nice to again see a lot of those dynamics again. In fact, if I now in saying that, and of course with Elbaf we got now of course and of course the pinnacle for me with this particular section of the story was probably with Nami, and was probably with Nami especially, like seeing Nami like bring down a thunderbolt on Roto out of pure vengeance was amazing. Like it was, and what elevated it for me even more was Usopp's reaction to basically Nami doing this and saying, "Are you crazy?" And her rebuttal being, "It's divine retribution. It couldn't be helped," with a look of malicious joy on her face. Like that moment in itself is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Like seeing the Straws kind of take joy in the messes they cause to others who deserve it. That's been like the main core to me of what's been missing more than anything else. With that said, though, the 26 episode limitation continues to show its merits, as the episode once again went absolutely stupid with the animation. Now, admittedly, because this was largely an episode that had Roto chasing down the Straw Hats, there is a large chunk of this episode that did show the animators cutting corners in all the obvious areas you expect them to, but it is still in a lot of the insular other moments throughout the episode, like Sanji and Zoro like cutting through the net and whatnot, like moments like that where you can really see the jump in quality really shows. And it's definitely one of those things that's a good sign of things to come, like even in these small bits. Like if this is even in those small bits, if this is the level of quality we should expect for the episodes that matter later down the line, then like things can only go up from here. Like I'm generally, and I guess I'm honestly kind of genuinely left puzzled even more now by the reason as to why Toei didn't do this sooner. Like I know the answer why it's because they weren't overly concerned at the time about catching up to the manga until now, but still, just from animation perspective already, they really should have done this sooner. But I'm happy we're doing it now. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe for more Blue Sky and Let's Control. Be sure to hit the bell, hit the subscribe button, and just share it around, guys. Dog Night of the Night signing off. Later, everyone.